You're going to run for president against Donald Trump in the Republican race.
I am.
Why?
Because I think we need to have a conversation on what it means to be a Republican. I think that as a Republican Party, we have lost our way.
Welcome back. That was former South Carolina Governor, Congressman, and former Congressman Mark Sanford, President Trump's newest primary challenger. The field against President Trump now stands at 3. It's quite crowded when you look at these resumes of we've got a couple former governors now, former Massachusetts Governor Bill Weld, former Illinois Congressman Joe Walsh, also in the race. President Trump says these challengers have no credibility, pointing to his sky-high approval rating with Republican voters. But as we've seen in the past, a primary opponent can spell general election problems for a sitting president. Joining me now is former South Carolina Republican governor, newly minted presidential candidate Mark Sanford. Congressman, governor, which title do you prefer these days? Dad, Mark, Grandpa, right? You know?
Yeah. Mark, hey, you, whatever. Yeah.
Hey, you, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask it this way. The history says someone of your stature challenging a sitting president dooms that president's reelection chances. And yet you're running anyway. Fair? Do you hope to doom his reelection chances?
You can't own what you don't own in life. I've talked to a number of different Republican colleagues and friends who said, look, this is not a good idea. You know, you need to hold back. We need to circle the wagons around our guy. And I said, well, that presumes it's all about our guy. What about the hopes and dreams of my 4 boys, a lot of other kids and grandkids that I don't know? Ultimately, politics ought to be about improving the lives of those that we represent. And if so, it ought to be about ideas. And so there's a robust debate going on the Democratic side on what it means to be a Democrat. There ought to be an equally robust debate on the Republican side on what it means to be a Republican. And so I just think that, think about high school football. I mean, there are a bunch of teams in South Carolina right now out there scrimmaging because they know they'll play that much better on Friday night as a consequence of those scrimmages. And so I've said to my Republican friends, no, this is about improving the ideas that the Republican Party stands for, about improving the level of national debate, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. It's, I don't own what I don't own. And so some people say, no, this could hurt his chances. No, I say it could make them better. How about that?
Let's articulate, there's debt and deficit, which I know where you are on that. In what other ways do you think he has damaged the Republican brand?
Well, there are a lot of boats that go in and out of the port in Charleston here, and he is damaging world trade. As late as Friday, the Wall Street Journal had a report on how a full percentage point of GDP growth had been lost due to trade uncertainty. Are we the party of protectionism now? Are we a party that looks inward rather than outward? I think equally we have to have a conversation on political norms and institutions. That's the glue that's held our balance of power in place for more than 200 years. And when he goes out and says the Fed chairman is an enemy of the state, we're challenging political norms like you can't believe. And finally, I'd say this. We got to have a conversation on tone in politics. You look at the 1st Congressional District as a referendum to his tone. There were a lot of working women. There were a lot of young millennials who turned away in droves. And so this district went Democrat for the first time in 50 years. I think there are a bunch of things to be discussed on the Republican side of the ledger.
Why do you think, though, there is so little appetite, at least publicly, for this? You're not wrong among elected officials. I talked to elected Republicans, and every one of them off the record would love a robust primary challenger, would love it at a minimum, a real debate here. At a maximum, I think they wish for something else completely. But as you know, there is no public appetite for admitting this. You're a pariah for even admitting that you want to challenge the president, as you know.
Well, that's the important part about breaking the ice. They say the hardest step in a journey is the first step. Yep. I mean, I think it's important to go out there and try and force the issue, which I'm going to try and do, and I think others are as well. And all of a sudden, there begin to be fissures. I mean, the fact that they closed down the debate in South Carolina, which has historically been a point of great pride in our state, first in the South primary, is amazing. There's no way you have a 90% win and don't take it, but that's what they're going to do here in South Carolina.
I'm curious, your reaction to John Bolton's either firing or resignation. How does it make you feel as a Republican right now?
Line him up. I mean, again, you could like or dislike John Bolton, The bigger point is Rex Tillerson, General Mattis, General Kelly. It's an endless list of people who've come and left this administration based on, I guess they're all idiots, or I think his term for Tillerson, though he ran Exxon, which is a rather large company, dumb as a rock, I think was the president's expression. Everybody is stupid compared to the president. And there's something wrong with that. And so yet he's another casualty of this rather enormous, well, keep going. I'm sorry. What were you about to say?
No, it's okay. When you were on my show a couple weeks ago on the Sunday show, and I asked you the point-blank question, if you're unsuccessful in the primary, will you still support him for president? You said yes. I have to tell you, the amount of feedback I got about that, left and right, was just sort of, I would say the uniform response was perplexed.
Okay, that's fair enough. But let me again explain more clearly what I'm talking about, because in one sentence phrases,
I know,
we don't
and I'm
have
going to
the
be
chance
cutting
to do
you
that.
off here in a second, but go.
Okay, what I'd say is I'm an idea guy, and I'm going to vote for the person that is ultimately closest to me on debt, deficit, and government spending.
All right. Well, it'll be interesting then to ask you the question if it ends up Trump and Biden versus Trump or Warren. Mark Sanford, thank you, sir. Stay safe on the trail. Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor, subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Beat the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.